Hi everyone. My name is Anuj. Um, truth be told, I'm a bit nervous, not because of obvious reasons like stage fright, etc. But we've started a production release, and I don't know how that goes. Has anyone sort of done production releases, and you're afraid that something might break, right? Yeah. That's why we avoid releases on Friday, right? We have a lot of companies have that policy that no production releases on Friday. We want a sane weekend, right? We also try and follow that principle. Uh, I know I digressed a bit, but I'll go over what we do as a company. I'm from Harness, obviously. We have, as developers, have seen how important or how sort of trends are changing. The planning and coding is the easier part of software development right now, right? I'll be using the term SDLC a lot, software development life cycle, because the one in blue, is the one that makes me most nervous. Yash was also sort of talking about the secure part of it, or optimizing and testing, right? But I'm going to talk about how this sort of fits into our offerings, right? Uh, right now, most of our time as developers goes into ensuring that our code does exactly what it's supposed to do, right? The point of unit testing is that there's a small piece of code and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to add two numbers, not divide them, not multiply them, just add them, right? And the outer loop of SDLC that we were talking about has a lot of different things. If there are people who've sort of written unit tests or integration tests and doing all that mocking, they know how happy they are with AI agents sort of writing integration tests for us, or sort of creating those mocks for us, right? And this goes across the board. We have deployments, and don't even get us started on cost optimization, right? We initially start off saying it's fine, right? AI is powering our app, and before you know, AI is also powering your credit card, right? There's so much optimization, especially in the era where more and more AI-generated code is coming in. I don't know. I don't even want to use numbers where we talk about how much of the code that is being written is AI-generated, right? Uh, with as it increases more, this outer loop becomes more and more important. Again, ensuring your code is exactly what it's supposed to do, and so on and so on. That is where Harness comes in. We have spent over a decade sort of building this for enterprises. As someone used it, I think it was enterprise grade software delivery, right? So that is exactly what we do, and it is powered by AI. And we are not using AI as a buzzword. This is again enterprise ready, which means if we say it's an AI powered platform, it needs to actually be smart, intelligent, and work across the board. What we like to call it a unified agent, right? A unified agent is sort of like a big brain for your entire code infrastructure. This starts from code repository, this is testing, this is RevOps, this is SRE, everything, right? Harness has offerings across the entire pipeline. And this basically is fundamentally powered by what we call a software delivery knowledge graph. Imagine AWS having a break. Maybe it will soon, right? What you have to understand is this has context about every commit you've made, every comment that has gone onto a PR, DB schema changes or tests that you've written. Everything acts as context and knowledge to the software, the unified agent, right? And this basically powers all of our intelligent workflow orchestration. I know I'm also sort of talking very high level and throwing a lot of words at you, but this is a suite of modules and offerings we have. Each of the sort of subsections that we saw has an offering which is fundamentally powered by AI, and when it's smarter. When you look at some of these things, you're like, I think when you make a commit, it should obviously deploy. And when a deployment fails, we talk about auto fixes. Auto fixes should be smart enough to do it properly. Well, the best auto fix an AI can do when a bug comes up is delete the code base. technically it has fixed the bugs. There are no bugs, right? So how do you ensure that agents do exactly what they're supposed to do? I wish I had the time to talk about everything, the entire suite of Harness AI platforms. Uh, but we're going to focus today on AI test automation. So this is a this is a tool. Again, we've sort of working with enterprises for this. What this does is this introduces a very, sorry, this introduces the intent-based testing, right? We've seen a lot of tools where you write English and it ensures that it tests your web app end to end. So imagine this at scale, seamlessly integrated into your release pipelines. What keeps us, or what keeps my heart rate low in general, my Apple Watch alerts me when my heart rate is high, is when it's edging towards the testing part of my pipeline. Our offering, AI Test Automation, sits very neatly into your release pipelines, your deployment pipelines, regardless of which environment you're deploying on, right? All of our test suites easily sort of sync into your pipelines. All you have to do is add a step in your pipeline, right? This ensures that all of your functionality is free of regressions, especially in an AI code generation world, right? It's me, like I don't know about everyone else in the room, but I write something to fix a critical piece of code and I break another critical piece of code. How do you ensure that all of your critical pieces are intact? So I'm going to do a very quick demo. After the demo, what I want to talk about is how our architecture looks like, what are the kind of agents that are powering it, but more importantly, what was the non-shiny stuff or what was the boring stuff that we did that helped us build for enterprises? Let's say setting up a demo to do AI test automation with natural language is easy. We all know that. But how do you take it from a small POC where it works on an HTML site to platforms that are behind VPCs or that are behind firewalls? When you start working with enterprises, you sort of run into different challenges, right? So we have a lot of sites that we've built to ensure that our platforms does exactly what it does. This is basically an e-commerce site. It's quite simple. It just has variety of shoes, right? All I'm trying to ensure and do is that I buy a shoe. As you can see, this is a very simple sequence of steps. When we start creating a test, what it does is it identifies what it needs to do next. When I talk about the overall architecture of the platform, we'll see who is sort of who's acting as a manager of sorts to ensure that the next step is the step in the right direction. That's all you need, right? You need to ensure that the first thing it does is in line with what it needs to do. So there is an orchestrator that ensures that, hey, you know what, this is what the next step is supposed to be done. We have different agents, and it calls the right agent to act. But it's not just ensuring, or it's not just sort of making sure that an agent is picking up the work. We also have some sort of explainability. For example, the first step that I added is verify if there are any blue shoes. I think if we see this, there is sort of one blue shoe. And if you see the explanation, it says, hey, there is a screen, in the screenshot, there is a shoe. So the thing is, the HTML does not have the color. It's just an image. We are giving more context and eyes to our agents to ensure that it has more information to act with, right? And you can see an entire end-to-end UI test has been authored, and all you have to do is give it a sequence of steps. In this age and world, creating a sequence of steps or a lot of different sequence of steps, meaning test generation, is super easy, right? You give it code bases, you can give it product documents, PRDs, all sorts of context, and that can generate end-to-end tests for you. What we've seen, or what enterprises are using this for, is they have a very, very comprehensive set of test suites. bundling functionality that enterprises can easily integrate into their pipelines has proved to sort of draw their interest towards us. We have a bunch of customers using them regularly, and this is a part of their daily run. This has enabled them to do many more releases than they would usually, and with a lot more confidence, right? I'll quickly jump into our existing setup. We have an orchestrator agent, sort of a manager. It ensures that the right agent picks up the next task. If anyone is familiar with gradient descent, right, there is a very interesting thing that sort of I remember. What is the optimization we call? Sorry, I'm blanking right now. But when your ML model is sort of optimizing, all it needs to do is take the next step right, so that it doesn't fall into a local minimum. You're looking for a global minimum to optimize, right? So in this example as well, what all we are doing is ensuring that if there is if you're on, I don't know, if you're booking a flight, the first thing you do is, hey, find a flight for, I don't know, 28th of December. And you just need to say, hey, here's a date picker agent. Ensure that the agent is the one that picks up this task. It's pretty simple, again, right? So the orchestrator ensures that the right agent picks up the job. And we also sort of, this framework also comes with a lot of challenges, right? How do you ensure that different agents communicate with each other efficiently without, sort of slowing down the process, without costing you a lot? How do you ensure that sort of two agents are bouncing back a prompt saying, hey, this is not my responsibility, it's yours? No, it's not mine, it's yours, right? How do you sort of break an infinite while loop as well? So there are a bunch of challenges we've faced when we start building for enterprises. I'm going to go over a couple of them. The first one is speed versus accuracy. I added a small sort of an Easter egg. It says, hi, Heisenberg. And this is not the Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. This is the scientist who said it's impossible to sort of accurately measure location and speed of an object, right? And for this crowd, I think I'll use CAP theorem as a better example. How do you sort of optimize the cost or accuracy or speed of the agent? Let's say, for people familiar with UI, you can give it an XPath and say, hey, just go click on this XPath, that's all. But how do you, what happens if you add a header, the XPath changes? How do you constantly sort of improve and fix your XPaths and objects is a hard thing. So how do you ensure that the user is able to do that trade-off, right? That was one problem we sort of solved. The second one is the user, like the prompts we use here, it was pretty neat, right? I said, hey, verify if there is a blue shoe on the page. What if I say, is blue shoe there, right? Or if I say, is shoe blue? Well, you can't fault your user because you know what they say, right? The user is always right. How do you ensure that the users also take a step towards healthy test authoring? So we sort of give a prompt understandability score and we give a suggestion saying, hey, you know what, just modify this prompt a bit. This is sort of what Google search did, right? It did both. It built fuzzy search into its algorithm and also prompted the users to say, hey, did you mean this instead? While secretly improving their own fuzzy search, right? So some of these things help build good UX and also ease, like you don't have to build a very advanced sort of a fuzzy, understand this and do all of that. You can also take two steps. One, make it slightly better and also sort of prompt the user to handle this. And I also, Sid sort of talked about open challenges that we are excited about and founders and engineers in the audience will look forward to. I think the first one is AI evals. I think we've talked a lot about that. Yash sort of very comprehensively covered what evaluation means for AI agents. And we are pretty excited about it. I think we are at a stage where we need to ensure that agents don't go rogue. We need to ensure security and vulnerabilities are already taken care of. I think another area that interests us a lot is the second one, strengths and weaknesses of models. What we've observed is different models have different strengths when it comes to test authoring and test execution. For example, a Grok fast model does excellent, like it does really well with calendar agents. If you think about it, right, calendars or date pickers can come in all shapes and forms. It could be a scrolling thing, only input, different formats of dates, time zones. How do you sort of ensure that your AI agent does everything well? Well, one way is to give us an AI agent to fix the other AI agent. But all it does is add a lot of if-else, saying, hey, if this is PST, do this. If this is IST, do this. But how do you leverage an arbitration framework? All you're saying is, hey, these models do these things well. And how do you leverage it? It also helps you with cost optimization. How do you use a smaller model to evaluate a screenshot versus using a Cloud Sonnet 4.5 to do something as simple as give a summary of all the things that have been done, right? These are the sort of open challenges. Feel free to come talk to us about the challenges we're excited about, what we're trying to solve, what we see to be the next sort of interesting challenge. We have a couple of engineers from our team, Shibam, Shreyas, they're from the Harness AI team. We'll be around after the talk. Feel free to talk to us about all the things that are interesting. But this is just the beginning. We are very excited about everything that has to come. We think that this is only the beginning of how we ensure that all of our production deployments are safe, we are regression-free, and more so in the world of cursors and Windsurf and Cloud Code, right? In other news, to do all of this better and faster, we've raised a round of funding recently. We raised $250 million. We are excited about growing our teams, adding a lot of people. If these are the kind of things that you find interesting, and this is not just specific to test automation. As I was saying, we have a comprehensive Harness AI team. We're building coding agents. We're building DevOps agents, all sorts of things. If any of these problems excite you, please come talk to us. We're hiring for a lot of roles. And the second QR there is questions for us. If you're interested in sort of seeing a demo of a product, you want to use it, you have suggestions, you're building in that space, and you want to know our secret sauce, I will not spill it, but you can try and you can ask us, see if we talk about that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anuj. Hello? Yeah. The stage is open to questions. Do we have any questions? Yes.
Hey, hi. First of all, thank you for throwing us a light of the test automation. Two questions which I got through while going through your PPT, right? The first thing is, for what kind of product suite does this test automation help? Is it only for a website, or is it for mobile apps and all? That's the first question. Second question is, while doing AI testing, right, a lot of my customers, I realize, ask me that when you do a test automation, do you understand the domain of the website, what you're trying to test? How does we bring up the domain expertise in this AI, apart from giving a doc? Right?
Yeah. That's valid. I think for the first one, do you have a mobile app that we can sort of onboard you for our mobile testing suite? Okay. But right now we are focused on the web side of it. We are onboarding a lot of customers and working with them. But without spilling a lot of secrets about the roadmap or product roadmap we have, yes, that is sort of coming up. As to the second question, the context we give is, like, sure, we can give a doc, but companies may have, like, we have a Confluence doc, someone has a Google doc, someone has a PPT, a pitch deck. I think it's probably an overkill. Right now, the AI has eyes and I don't think ears is the right word if it's using HTML. So it's looking and trying to understand the context. I think it has some basic context because if it looks at the HTML, it knows what the product is in general. But that is the only business engineer or the business context that we are giving it. What we are seeing is it is able to sort of solve the problem at hand without a lot of business context. But we haven't, or like right now the pilots we have they are, even though they are complex enough, we're still able to go ahead without a lot of business context. But if you think you have a specific use case that may fit well for our experiment, happy to sort of talk and see. I think there's one.
Hi. I just want to know, you mentioned that AI test, AIT is like something with respect to user journey. So in the days nowadays where we are seeing DAG-based workflow automation is happening.
Sorry, what?
DAG-based workflow
Right.
automation is happening. How is it different? Because even their user journey is only considered as to do a workflow automation.
I'm not sure I understand the question entirely, sorry. Can you take an example? What do you...
For example, as you mentioned here about a blue shoe available in the website, yeah, when we do a workflow automation using a DAG-based notes or something, we do have a journey. A user has a journey, and based on that, we build a workflow automation.
Right, right.
And even in a AIT tool, what you just explained, even there also it is a set of rules which comes in order. So how is it both different?
I didn't necessarily say it was different.
No.
Right. But sure, I understand what you're trying to say. I think when we were orchestrating the entire flow in general, we were experimenting with different types of workflows and approaches. And when I talk about practical versus shiny problems, right? When you're working with enterprises, the problems you're trying to solve from a product standpoint versus a engineering standpoint sort of slightly different. I think this is also a longer conversation. We can sort of talk one-on-one about all the things we've tried that have failed, that have succeeded, and we've taken learnings from them as well. That's why I don't know if I want to say it's entirely different or how different it is, or it's entirely same as well. Thank you so much, everyone.